We all wish we could bring our Disney vacation home with us, right? To have that Disney feeling every day? Well, why not start your day the Disney way with a Disney blend from Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company? With over 23 varieties to choose from the French bistro you find in your resort room to the Yachtsman Steakhouse and Gico, of course, and now Joffrey's newest Disney blend, Le Cellier. Why not start your day with that Disney magic? Order yours today at Joffreys.com.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
As you enter, please slide across the seat to allow room for those who may follow. And please be sure your hands and legs are away from open doors. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Scott.
I'm Bob Collar.
This is ResortLoop.com. This is the first show for HolidayThon 2016.
That's why we sound like we have so much energy.
I'm very excited.
Just wait. Just wait.
No. I'm well caffeinated, ready to go.
You wanted to kick off HolidayThon in the biggest possible fashion.
I did.
So tell us how we're going to do that.
Well, I wanted to take everybody on the Grand One. But then I thought that would be a terrible accident waiting to happen. So I thought, next best thing, let's have Mr. Len Testa on the show.
Woo! Woo! He couldn't make it. Oh, wait.
So, yeah, right. I think some people want the Grand One. I think people would go with the Grand One, yeah.
I know they would, but our card doesn't go that high. Bob tested it last time he was down there.
Yeah. It's it really... Yeah, we don't have the Touring Plans credit card. We just got the Resort Loop credit card. It was a real small budget.
All right.
Len, thanks for coming on, man. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, Bob. Thanks for having me, guys.
Our
Absolutely. So real quick, I mean, we got to talk about this. If you guys, because Christmas is right around the corner.
It is.
I mean, it's right there.
It's coming fast.
If you guys need gifts, Len might have a couple of gifts that you could get pretty quick and easy. Don't forget the touring plans. Go ahead, Len.
Yeah, so the week between Christmas and New Year is actually one of our busiest periods. Is when we see families starting to plan their trips for the following year. So, shameless plug coming up, a subscription to touringplans.com or a copy of the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World is a fantastic gift if you know somebody going to Walt Disney World in 2017.
Absolutely. And I got to tell you something. I wish it's one of those things. It's kind of like the DVC when we talk to people from DVC. Everybody says, "I wish I would have done it as soon as I knew about it," because it's invaluable.
Oh, thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. You guys, I mean, you're staying on top of all of this stuff that's going on down there. We don't even have to work for it. We just plug in touring plans and go, hey, I'll go over here now. This is good.
Speaking of DVC, I saw the new have you seen the new layout or the position of the Wilderness Lodge? I guess it's the Copper Creek Canyon bungalows. Have you seen those? Where they're putting them?
I just heard near the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's actually different than so it's a different location than the corresponding location at the Poly. So at the Poly, they kind of stuck them literally in the middle of the beach, right in front of the Hawaii Longhouse, right?
Right.
Over at the Wilderness Lodge, they've sort of tucked them around the corner behind this wooded area on the far left side of the resort. And the main thing that's good about that is that if you're standing in the middle of the resort, if you're at the pool, if you've got one of the a pool view room, you can't see the cabanas, I don't think, from the resort. So they've kind of hidden them away. And it does two things. One, it doesn't obstruct the view of anyone that paid a premium for one of those rooms. But the second thing is, and I think this is the good part, you're supposed to be in the wilderness. You're supposed to be somewhere remote, and they've put these cabins on the other side of a stand of trees, where it actually does feel like it's more remote. It looks like it's a much better, much more thought out location for these things than they did at the Poly. So lesson learned there by Disney. Looks like they're putting that lesson to good effect over at the Wilderness Lodge. So I'm hopeful on that one anyway.
That's very smart.
Nice. How far along are they?
The shells are built. The roofs are on. My sense is that they're doing some sort of interior work now on it. And I heard that there's going to be some last-minute landscaping going in between each of the bungalows. So another thing another piece of feedback they got at the Poly was if you're doing the dishes in the kitchen, you essentially are looking out into your neighbor's living room or deck.
Oh, wow.
And that's, again, you're paying $180 an hour or whatever for this. That's not what you want. So they're going to do some landscaping between each of the cabins to give a little bit more privacy. And I think that over at Wilderness Lodge, and I think that's another lesson well learned. So good. I would expect that you'd hear something well before middle of next year for those cabanas. Cottages.
Oh, nice, yeah. I like the fact that they're behind woods. It kind of feels like they're the rich people out there staying on the lake at the Polynesians. You can see them right over there.
Right? Yeah. The other thing, too, is they stuck them far enough away from the dock that the noise from the boat traffic shouldn't be as bad as at the Poly with the TTC. So, version 2.0 of the bungalows seems to be a little bit better. We'll see.
Nice.
Very nice. Very nice. You also got to see the new Rivers of Light.
I did, although I think when it debuts, it'll be even newer because of the problems with the show. So,
oh no,
I got to see the last of the cast member previews. It was in fact just a week ago. Bob Iger was there, although I didn't sit next to him. We shared the same sort of side of the stage. So I got a cast member friend to hook me up on a ticket. We went to Tiffin's for dinner then a couple hours before. Have you guys been to Tiffin yet?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
It's fantastic. Have you been to Jico?
I have not been to Jico. Tim, you weren't you?
No, we were going to go to Jico, and then we just decided to go to a park.
All right, so I've got two restaurants for you guys to go to.
All right, hit us.
That's Chico and then Tiffin's. Fantastic food there, excellent service. There were a couple of listeners for my podcast. They were there. I split some appetizers with them. It was a lot of fun. And then we went to see the show. And so you guys have heard about the technical issues with the show, where one of the show elements was this armada of like 100 small floats in the shape of lotus lanterns. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they were supposed to so the interesting thing about this is apparently there's the show's theme is this combination of like shamans, like mystical priests that summon the images of the spirits of animals and water and color, and the water, the color, and the animal images all sort of like combine in the show. And one of the interesting things that was supposed to happen in the show is these small lantern floats, these 100 floats, were supposed to, by themselves, guide themselves into color patterns and shapes during different parts of the show. So at one point they would, swarm around and be like fish almost. And they would be, different colors, so reds and greens and whatnot. And they were going to do this at the direction of the shaman who were making these these arm movements and these incantations on these boats as they were floating around the lake. So the problem is all of the choreography for the show that the shamans do is, I think, based on the fact that these 100 lanterns should be floating. But they're not, because that was the technical issue that was holding up the show. So the way that Disney fixed the problem is just by deleting these 100 lanterns from the show. But the problem is now you've got this shaman out there who's making these like wild arm gestures, and nothing's going on. So about 5 minutes into the show, I turned to a cast member, who's there, knows something about the show, and I'm like, what's this? He's gesturing. What's he doing here? And he's like, well, there were supposed to be lanterns that were supposed to be forming circles around him as he was doing this, but the lanterns aren't there, so just go with it. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, let's go with it. Sure. But that little story right there is indicative of the entire show. It's nothing. There are very few things that actually work right on this show. It's very slow paced. There are elements like the water screens that just don't work at all. It's very blurry. And here's where I hear about that. I'm like, well, how is it that the water screen technology is that blurry? One work of color is fantastically clear. And here's the difference. World of Color is pretty much crystal clear water that you can see the bottom of. But they can't do that in the Animal Kingdom because it wouldn't be realistic. So it's green. And now you're projecting images against a green background. And even the slightest bit of wind will cause the light effects combined with the fact that there's a little bit of wind, which sprays mist, means that when the image hits the water, it's no longer crisp. So there are actually instances in the show where you can't tell whether the image you're looking at is a lion, a rat, or an orangutan. But you just don't know. Yeah, and then the show is really slow paced. Like there are definitely pacing issues with it, and I say this, and I love the Illumination soundtrack. I think it's fantastic. The Rivers of Light soundtrack is unmemorable. Like I couldn't hum any part of it right now, even though I sat through 20 minutes of it. So the interesting thing is, we'd heard all this time that it was technical issues, and then back in like June when I was talking to Jim Hill, he's like, well, I'm hearing it's not just technical issues, that there are show issues. And now all you hear about is Disney's not releasing it, not because there are technical issues anymore, but because there are show quality issues. And I got to tell you, that is what I got out of that show. That there are still quality show issues. And what they said was, two things. One, they had storyboarded out the show and all of these effects. But it's completely different to do something on storyboards or even in a computer simulation versus actually seeing it, in a 4-acre space or whatever it is at the Animal Kingdom. And some of those things that they tried to do in the computer simulation and the storyboards just didn't translate well,
right,
to real life. Yeah, so I think that's the big issue there. So, I don't think you're going to see this anytime soon. And I think when you do see it, it'll be completely revamped.
Sounds like they're going to.
There are a couple of really, there are a couple of good effects. Like have you guys seen the animal-shaped floats, like the tiger and the turtle and the elephant, and those are spectacular. When they come in, there's this great little bit of stagecraft where in the scene right before they come out, the way that Disney works it is they focus all of the attention in the middle of the lagoon in the performance area, and you're following these fountains that are spurting water and everything, and then the entire scene goes dark, and it's dark for 2 or 3 beats, and in that time the 4 floats come out from between Dinoland and Asia, and they automatically turn on with all of their bright colored lights on, and it's just a fantastic entrance. They do that really, really well. That part was great, and I think they should. That's one of the show elements I think they should keep. The other thing is before the show, the pre-show entertainment. Have you guys seen this? Have you seen videos of this? With the fireflies?
No.
So you're sitting. Imagine you're sitting in Asia with your back to Expedition Everest, and you're facing sort of the Flame Tree barbecue area across the lake, or you're in Dinoland with your back to the Theater in the Wild, and you're facing sort of the bridge from Discovery Island to Asia. So essentially, you're facing a tree, a shoreline, and some landscaping. Well, what they do as dusk falls and it gets darker, you start to see these little flickers of light in the trees and in the landscaping opposite the lake of where you're sitting, so across the lake from where you're sitting. And as it gets darker, you realize that what they're simulating is fireflies. These little flickering fireflies in the trees, but lots and lots of fireflies. And then you start to see shadows move. And at first you can't tell the shapes, but as it gets darker, you can tell that it's like the shape of an elephant, that it's essentially moving from tree stand to tree stand. You can see the shadows move. And then they add in the animal noise effects. Like you'll start to hear the trumpeting sound of the elephant or a low roar from a lion. And then it gets more and more intense again as the night goes on. But it's a fantastic effect. It works in the in the context of the park and the setting. And the thing that I couldn't figure out, like I'm sitting there with Imagineers, I'm like, and cast members, I'm like, why don't they just do this now? I mean, you don't have to wait for Rivers of Light to do this.
Right.
You should do this around the park all the time. Yeah. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. I think that was a really good part of the show too. So
was that drone technology or?
No, I saw the drone show though. It's no, this was just lights. I did see the drone show at Disney Springs, and I like that quite a bit.
Yeah.
So 300 drones. Have you guys seen it? Have you seen the video?
Seen video.
Yeah.
It looks much more spectacular than I imagined when I first heard of it.
Yeah, and it looks even better in person. So the best place to see it, I think, is right behind bongos. They have a walkway there, and so you're between bongos and the characters in flight balloon. I think the shows when we were there were 6 or 6:30, and then 8:30 p.m. So once it gets dark, you'll see it. The drones I think come out from the launch point. You don't see them launch. You don't see them fly into formation. It's dark enough that all of a sudden the show just begins. So short announcement, and then the show begins, and they start off with I think it's the Christmas tree shape. But the cool thing about this was these drones are using GPS technology to orient themselves, not only relative to where you're standing, but relative to each other. Mm-hmm. And this so the interesting thing when this show started off was it's 300 drones, and they were in sort of a circular spiral shape in the form of a Christmas tree. So they're green to start off. And the funny thing was, 300 drones, 299 of them perfectly in position. One drone was exactly where it needed to be, like height-wise, but it was 50 feet to the left of every other drone.
Oh, wow.
But when it rotated in exactly the right position. So it was just it's like this tree with a limb sticking out, but it rotated exactly right. And then as it went on into other formations, it was good. But it did I guess the peace on earth dove or an angel. I couldn't really tell. But the precision is phenomenal there. They you can do shapes there, and you can do movements that you can't get with lasers or fireworks or anything like that. And I think that's going to be an important addition to the nighttime spectaculars. There's definitely a spot for drones somewhere there. I think the downside is the battery technology is only letting them go for like 5 minutes at a time.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
So the show was like 4.5 minutes long. So if you count in the flight time that the drones have to take off and get to where they need to be, and then to go back,
right? You're
probably looking at like 10 minutes of battery time, and 2.5 minutes to get in position, 2.5 minutes to get out of position, and that's going to be the big limiting factor there. If battery technology gets better, or motors become lower power, they can lower the weight or something.
Right? Is it
any indication where they're coming from?
I thought they were coming from Saratoga Springs. That would seem to make the most sense. Like if you're there's some buildings that face Saratoga Springs, and there's there's some grass between the buildings and the shore, and then there's a walkway. I thought that there were takeoff points at Saratoga Springs, like clusters of takeoff points, but I could be wrong. I'll have to go back and look one night when the show is going on.
Do you hear? I know a lot of drones make a lot of noise.
No, that was what I was concerned about. No,
really.
Couldn't hear anything. No, nothing.
They're military stealth drones.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, I thought this was going to be like it was going to be like a festival of weed whackers or something, right? Nothing. Couldn't hear a one. Nothing. Yeah, wow. That was good.
Crazy.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with that. So what I heard was they really want to get these into the new Epcot show that's supposed to replace Illuminations, but the problem again is the battery life. Like they can't fly over. They can't fly over any place that's populated by guests,
right?
And that includes the walkway. So there are a couple of options. One is they can float them out on barges like they do the fireworks, and then launch them that way. But the crazy option that I've heard is they would fly them along. The waterway that the barges come in between China and the Africa place, where they have to raise the drawbridge to get them in. When the drawbridge is raised, they would fly the drones along there, sort of like in a Star Wars-esque type move. Fly the drones all under the drawbridge and then out into the lagoon and back. And they said the problem with that is that would take essentially all but 4 or 5 minutes of their battery life.
Right. Oh my gosh. Well,
definitely interesting.
Yeah, definitely. What are you hearing about Avatar Land? Is it going to open in 2017?
I've heard a very specific internal date that they are targeting. Won't be the first month of summer, but soon after that. So
okay.
Do your math and figure it out from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at this point, if they would, the date that they're targeting is literally right in the middle of summer vacation. So they've got 6 weeks of leeway. If you've got any listeners who want to go during summer and they're trying to figure out whether to go in the beginning or end of summer, late July, early August is probably a safe bet.
Okay.
Nice.
What? Okay, so I got to ask. You got all kinds of stuff coming. You got You got Avatar Land at Disney. You got Fast and Furious over at Universal coming in. You got all this new stuff coming in. How's that going to affect your touring plans?
So Avatar, we had to. We've been working on simulations for more than a year, looking at all kind of different scenarios. So for the Animal Kingdom, we looked at a couple of things. We know basically the capacity of the rides because Disney's told us the capacity of the rides. The thing that we had to figure out was how much of an attendance bump the Animal Kingdom was likely to get with something like this. And the two things that we had to go on recently were Diagon Alley over at Universal, which I think Universal got like a 30% attendance increase on that. And then New Fantasyland at the Magic Kingdom, which was like a 4% increase. So we ended up running 3 different scenarios. And it was this. It was we assumed a 5% increase in attendance, a 15% increase in attendance, and a 25% increase in attendance. And we ran different simulations with our wait time forecasting models based on those assumptions to see what would happen. Again, using the like for Diagon Alley, because it's in a specific area of the park and it's its own land. You could see what the effects were for the wait times on things like Men in Black, which is adjacent to it, or even things that are along the way like The Mummy or other rides like that. So we were able to sort of forecast what the impacts would be on things like Kilimanjaro Safaris and Expedition Everest, which is the complete opposite end of the park. So we did that. So we ran a year's worth of simulations. We also did the same thing for we had to do fast passes for the new Norway ride for Frozen Ever After and for Soarin'. And I got to say, all credit to our stats team. They nailed those predictions. The model that we thought was most likely to happen a year ago is the way that it actually turned out. So literally the original touring plan that we came up with based on the models was the one that was correct. So we'll see what happens with this. But yeah, that's what we're doing. We're forecasting like a 15% increase in attendance for Disney. Of course, anything can happen. But the Animal Kingdom is so small.
Yeah.
And it's the only thing that Disney's opening for a long time. I think 15% is a relatively safe bet.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they only got a 5% bump out of Animal Kingdom for Pandora, that would be a failure. 25%, I'm not sure that I would want to be in the park. With 25% more people in Animal Kingdom. So we'll see what happens. I mean, in any event, the first month is going to be crazy anyway, right?
Oh, without a doubt.
Everybody within 100 miles is going to want to come see it. So I'm interested to see the effects too. So originally they were going to do the glowing plants, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was going to be live plants. So Disney Research in Zurich, Switzerland, had I think done some research on actual plants that glow in the dark and that respond to touch. But the problem with that is if you let tourists touch the plants, the tourists will kill the plants, right?
Right. Oh, exactly.
That's the way that it works. So they've their more recent patents were on simulating live plants with plastics that do the same thing. So I think you're going to see combinations of real and fake.
Huh.
And fake plants in me, I think. But yeah.
Interesting.
So we'll see. I was telling somebody at Tiffin's, it's like, when this thing opens in a year, we're gonna all look back fondly on the days where we could walk into a table, for 4 at Tiffin's, because that's never gonna happen again. It's like it's trying to get a be our guest after.
Oh, right. It's gonna be the thing to do.
Never.
Yeah. How was Tiffin's, by the way?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's if it was in a resort, it would be. It is signature dining, but it would be destination dining if it was in a resort.
Oh, wow!
Really?
I think the fact that you have to. Everything on that menu is good. The cocktails are good. The appetizers, they actually do this char grilled octopus, which I know octopus is not the first thing that jumps to mind when people think appetizers, but dude, it is the best thing on the menu, man. It is fantastic.
Wow.
They do a cheese board, a charcuterie plate that's really good. I would say they do lamb. The lamb is delicious. They do pork 2 ways with a tamale that is slap your grandmother in the head good. It's
wow,
fantastic stuff. Yeah, all good.
All
good stuff. Yeah.
Man, I'm looking at the prices
you guys
right
gotta
now.
get that
Not bad.
You know, but for the quality of what it is, it's not bad at all. The end, I think it's all solid stuff. When you guys, next time you guys go, give me a call. If we're all in town, I'll take you over.
All right.
Fantastic.
Write that down, Tim.
We have it recorded.
Yeah, report. It's just as good. Yeah, we'll go. It's really good. Wine list is good. Service is excellent. In fact, I know at least one server from Victoria and Albert's is over there picking up shifts. So
wow.
That's a high level of service right there.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah, it looks. It looks good. All of the.
You guys
I'm looking at touring plans right now, and I'm looking at the. I'm looking at dinner at Tiffin's off touring plans right
on
now.
the menu. Yeah.
Yeah, which you guys give it 4 out of 4 stars for overall, and quality, service friendliness. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
Hey, Len, let me ask you about this. Go ahead.
So, have you been to Homecoming yet at Disney Springs?
No, that wasn't open last time I was there. I'm hearing great things about that, though.
Oh yeah, so they're known for their fried chicken. So Art Smith is doing the thing. Art Smith's Homecoming. Art Smith is the chef. He's Oprah's former personal chef. Art Smith is doing the same thing that Morimoto is doing over at Morimoto, and by that I mean the dude is in the restaurant on a regular basis. So sometimes you know that like celebrity chefs open their restaurants, they fly in for the opening, they stay for a couple of days, they leave. I've seen Morimoto there, like 3 or 4 times. And literally every time that I'm there, except one, he's been there. Art Smith, every time I go to Homecoming, Art Smith is in the restaurant, making sure that everything is working right, talking to the guests, getting feedback on the food. Yeah, really, really good. But that food there is phenomenal. I literally have not had a bad meal there. The only thing he's known for his fried chicken. Fried chicken is delicious. They do this really good mac and cheese as well. That's fantastic. But also the desserts. They do like a hummingbird cake and then a moonshine cake, which is essentially pound cake with icing soaked in moonshine.
Wow.
Which, I mean, let's face it, if that's not one of the 4 basic food groups, it should be.
That right there is a merry Christmas. I'm just saying.
Right. I mean, and there's enough alcohol in that drink that you think twice. Like, I might need to walk around for an hour before I get in the car and drive after this. Like
you could light it and serve it flambé.
Maybe we should Uber there. And in fact, we did. The night that we went, I knew I was gonna because their cocktail list is amazing. I actually did Uber there and back, so I could drink. The cocktails, the appetizers, the desserts, not only the fried chicken entree, but a complete night at Homecoming has each of those elements. It really is good.
Very nice.
No, I'm hungry. Again.
Right? Let's go get some pizza.
Sold. Best place for pizza?
Blaze is actually my new favorite place for pizza in Walt Disney World.
I heard it's really good, yeah.
Yeah, thin crust. So I've actually been to a couple of different Blaze and Blaze-esque places. There's a Blaze in Cambridge that I was at last month, Massachusetts. Wasn't as good as the one in Disney Springs. This was still fine. But the one in Disney Springs, man, the night I was there, everything was right. The oven temperature was right. The pizza crust was crisp but not burnt, like a crispier crust. Toppings and sauce and cheese were all exactly proportionally. Everything was fresh. Took 3 minutes to get a pizza. Yeah, it was delicious. I think it's the best pizza on property.
How do you feel about the new Disney Springs? What's your feeling toward it now?
I think the restaurants are all but like a couple. The only restaurant I think that probably isn't, I think, a hit is STK. But like I think Morimoto is fantastic. Homecoming is. I had a second meal at Frontera Cucina this last week, and it was much better than the first one. I think that's good, solid Mexican food. I think their tequila list needs a little bit more work, which is kind of surprising given that the people who run La Cava run Frontera. But
really?
But no, yeah. I mean, when I say that it needs work, there's probably like 18 tequilas, and I would like to see 30. This is not. I know. And as soon as I said it, I was like, people are going to take this the wrong way. But I think Jock Lindsay's is sort of interesting from a decor perspective. I think Boathouse is fantastic. It's a good default. All the restaurants, I think, for the most part, are very, very solid. The thing that I don't understand is the retail side of it. And what I mean by that is I don't understand how the things that are being sold are supposed to be bought by tourists.
Right.
So there's this one store, and I forget what the name of the store is, but its slogan, or its the saying on the outside is "Purveyors of whimsy," like whimsical things.
Mm-hmm.
And you walk in, and there are these sort of like semi-inspirational sayings, but they're painted on like 4x4 sheets of wood. 4 foot by 4 foot.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's handy.
No one's buying that and taking it home in their carry-on. I mean, what are you doing here? And there's an eyeglass place where you can get custom-made eyeglasses, but they take a week.
Oh,
yeah.
So again, if you're doing it for locals, if it's just a mall and it's a mall for locals, I sort of get that. But why not go to like Millennia or an outlet mall or something like that? So that's some of the places are good. Good.
Well, yeah, we talked about that. We Tim thinks that it's just for a lot of the international tourists that have a lot of money, or the locals, because like you said, a lot of stuff is extremely expensive. You're not getting it on a plane. You're not getting a 4x4 sign on Spirit Airlines. I know I'm not.
It costs you as much as your vacation.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so you're not buying that. The one thing I think that does fit in there is Uniqlo, the clothing store.
I've heard good things about that one. Very reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, like literally, Tim, I thought like at one point I'm like going through the prices, and the prices are dirt cheap. I was thinking to myself, I would probably fly, and if it was something like Spirit where they charge you for luggage, I would just fly down in the clothes I'm wearing, and I would buy the clothes there. And then I would use them, and then I would throw them away when I was done, and it would be cheaper than checking luggage.
Not doing laundry? That's fantastic.
I know, right? I was like, you could buy 5 shirts and 5 pairs of shorts and underwear and socks and a hat for like $100.
Oh yeah,
and just be done, right?
That's cheaper than a suitcase each way.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Tim, we got to do that.
If you ever find yourself in Walt Disney World without luggage, Uniqlo is where it's at. Yeah. And they've got fun stuff. I don't know about the quality of the clothes, but it's even cheaper than like the Gap outlet store.
Oh wow.
It'll last a week. That's all you need to know.
Don't even have to pack the Tide Pods. I love it.
Right? Just order it when you're done. So the retail stuff I still haven't figured out, and you could tell that, like when we were there, when I was there last week, the retail stuff was kind of on shaky ground because you see Disney doing these sort of promotional things. Like they had this was billed as like a Christmas tree walk, where it was decorated Christmas trees, and you can tell, Tim, this was something that they thought up like on a Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Needed to be installed on a Monday. And because it looks for all the world like they got the interns together over the weekend, gave them a Michael's Craft Store gift certificate, and
go.
Go. Like, you walk through this and there's like the trees are supposed to be, Christmas trees are supposed to be themed to different characters or movies. So there's an Alice in Wonderland tree, there's a Mary Poppins tree, of course there's a Belle tree and a Little Mermaid tree and whatnot. But the ornaments that they designed are so strange that if you're standing 20 feet away, you couldn't tell whose tree that was.
Oh,
right?
wow.
Is it Donald Duck's? Is it Ariel's? I don't know. You really have to get up on them. And then sometimes they guess to get their point across about what the ornament, like Belle's thing has books.
Mm-hmm.
So they sort of like, you get close enough and then it's like, here's the most obvious thing that we could pick as an ornament from the movie so that it is absolutely clear that this is Belle. And then they've got, pictures of the characters up close and whatnot. But I expected way more, from Disney's artistic department on that. It was underwhelming. But they're trying things. I hear next year you might see. They got the drone show obviously at Disney Springs to boost attendance. I hear Osborne Lights might be in their future at some point.
That's what we're hearing. Yeah,
interesting.
I think that's the next step, that they would have to do that.
Do you think it'd be make it unmanageable there though? I mean, you don't have
Yeah, they would. Yeah, that's the interesting. Well, so there are two issues with it that I heard. One is, maybe not. I don't know that any retailer would want, like with Osborne Lights, they had sort of like that staged entrance area where everyone gets funneled in, and the funnel itself acts as a stopper for more people going in. I'm not sure that the retailers would want that, but they could manage capacity that way. Although the fact that the orange garage actually unloads right to where they would put it would kind of be a challenge too. So I don't know how they would do it. The other thing that I heard is if they do it on the retail side, the retailers are a little concerned that the lights from the Osborne Lights would mask their own store signs.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, yeah.
So, the Disney went for sort of like the visual similarities in each of the stores because it looks like a Spanish or Mediterranean sort of aesthetic on it, where all the stores look basically the same. If you start covering up the signs in front of each store, nobody's going to know what's behind each door, and that's going to be problematic. So I don't know how they're going to work around that, but I think they need to do something, and I for one would welcome the Osborne Lights coming back.
Absolutely. That was so good.
It was fantastic. Len, let me ask you something. Touring plans-wise, how do you feel like this new express bus service is going to work?
So I talked to somebody who gave me a heads up about a day before it launched. They said that he was trying to explain what it was designed to do. And really what it's designed to do is to avoid the extra security going from park to park. I've never, found it to be that unbearable. Maybe 5 minutes worth of whatever. But you can also, because you can go from the back of a park and get dropped off directly at the back of another park, you would save some walking time out to the bus stop. I'm not sure about the bus frequency. I think they said every 30 minutes.
Yes.
Right. Yep.
In practice, I don't know if that's going to be much faster than the every 20 minutes that they're doing for the regular bus service. So it might just be the walking and the security that's a bonus. The thing that I originally thought was that they should have had an option for annual pass holders.
Oh, yeah.
Good call.
And I think the reason why they didn't is annual pass holders would actually use it and would essentially take over the buses. Like 2/3 of the bus would be annual pass holders. That's probably not why they're doing it, because it's already got your money. I'm not against it. The only thing I would say is this: if you're going to use the bus service enough to get your money's worth out of it, you're probably spending more time in transportation than you should be. If you're going from one park to another, I mean, depending on where the park and where it is, if you're going to do it once, take the Disney transportation or call an Uber. But if you're going park to park to park in one day, and you're doing that on a regular basis, you got to ask yourself why. The hour that you're spending just in transportation each day, would you be better off just seeing two parks and using that extra time to go on rides?
Right.
That would be the quick. So if you use it, if you use it enough to get your money's worth out of it, you're probably not getting your money's worth out of your actual ticket. That's my one big concern there.
Here was my thought too, and you know the numbers, so maybe you can help me with this. Maybe I'm wrong, but I have noticed that the only time that security is really difficult to get through is at rope drop or near rope drop. After that, you start going to another park in the afternoon, you're pretty much walking up to an empty table. You might have one or two people in front of you for security, but it's not like that first massive wave.
No, yeah, so, there's only a couple of times. There's like between 8:30 and 9:30, and then I think between 10:30 and 11 when the second wave of people get in. But yeah, after that, in fact, it's kind of funny. We went to Epcot one night for dinner at Coral Reef, and we, when you're walking towards the entrance, you can go to the right, which is sort of the main bag check, or you can go to the left, and around the corner, which is sort of like the secret bag check. We went to the left, and there were 4 or 5 people ahead of us. That wasn't the big wait. The big wait was getting through the turnstiles again. And that line was like 40 or 50 people deep, and they only had 6 lanes open. So at one point, the line stretched all the way from the tap stiles all the way back to the monorail station. So if you can avoid that with the bus,
Yeah.
I can kind of see that.
Gotcha.
So maybe that is the other thing that makes the buses worthwhile.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, I got to tell you, if again, we got to do this. We got to pitch this stuff that Len has. I'm telling you, touring plans for the holidays. Even if you're not buying it for a loved one, buy it for yourself. You guys got everything in this thing. I'm telling you, I'm looking right now. Should you get the dining plan? You guys address whether you should get the dining plan or not. This is full of everything.
Thank you. We've got a feature on there that'll fax your room request to Disney. We'll even show you the view from your room.
Oh,
On our hotel view thing, that was interesting. We have something that will alert you when dining reservations become available. That's pretty popular. Obviously, the touring plans, menus for every restaurant, crowd calendars, good advice about rides, videos, lots of stuff, lots and lots of stuff.
It's got everything, and I got to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to make a confession. I always thought I have been to Disney every year just about of my adult life. I don't need a plan on how to get around the parks. I already know how to do that. And then I'm looking at this and I'm going, I'm an idiot.
You are an idiot.
Stuff changes.
10 years ago.
We actually did this. Laurel and I did this a couple of weeks ago. We tested Magic Kingdom touring plans one morning. And so we used our app, which comes with a subscription, and versus a printed touring plan, and the reason we were doing was, what you can make predictions or you can think what happens in the Magic Kingdom, but if a ride breaks down or a ride opens late or crowds for whatever reason, right, just don't work the same way that day that they historically have. The wait times can change, and that would change your decision about what to do. So we tested the plan, and I got the app, and the app only made one change throughout the day. And what it told me was about 30 minutes after the park had opened, the app told me that the lines at Peter Pan were not growing as fast as they typically do, and for that reason, it routed me to Peter Pan. Everything else in the plan stayed the same. Routed me to Peter Pan. It told me, go now, right? Instead of like the later time that it had me. And ended up saving 35 minutes in the morning just by knowing that one thing. And I think that's the advantage of the technology, right? That it can look across every attraction in the park, and it can find like these little arbitrage opportunities where it says, don't go to Jungle Cruise right now. Go over to Peter Pan because something going on there that the waits are abnormally low. Go take advantage of it and then go do your turn plan. And that's what it did. And if you do that a couple times in a day, 35 minutes here, 35 minutes there, pretty soon you're talking about an hour or two of savings. So
absolutely.
Oh, thanks.
Absolutely. And Tim, go ahead. You can say it again. I'm an idiot.
Well, everyone knows. I'm kidding. Everyone loves Bob.
No, they don't.
No.
What do you got new going on in? You're going to have the 2017. Is the 2017 edition out yet?
2017 has been out. In fact, we're already on our third printing of it. Yeah.
Wow,
so,
my gosh.
Yeah. So the third printing includes all the closure of some of All Thrills at Epcot, and we completely redid the touring plans there based on that closure, because we had originally had you over in Future World West early to take advantage of some of All Thrills before the lines built, and then something with Mission Space Orange and then Test Track. But we completely redid that after some of All Thrills closed. So completely new touring plans there, literally updated like in the last couple of weeks. All the latest things around the new offerings, the cabanas, Tiana's dessert party, all that stuff in the Magic Kingdom. Literally the last update went out 7 hours ago. So if you've got a Kindle,
wow.
We're updating it. If you get an edition of the book, get the Kindle edition, because we update that every month.
Tim, you wanna ask him about the bungalows, the cabanas?
Started, dude.
What's that?
We're in the same same camp as you. Yeah.
If I look at it from a shareholder perspective, the fact that they could supposedly get $10 million a year per park in additional revenue from those cabanas. I understand the financial appeal of doing that. The thing that bothers me is you would think that Disney, which made like $6 billion last year, and they employ literally thousands of creative people. You think that they could afford and could come up with a better design than white canvas golf tents.
Yes.
In the Magic Kingdom, right? I mean, I believe some guy at one point, and I don't remember the name, said something about consistent theming and not having spacemen walk through Fantasyland because it was, it didn't go. It wasn't the right theme. And theming is important. And I think this same guy literally built a berm around some real estate to keep the outside world out. I'm thinking that there's a precedent and what's the term, best practices for that. Why do we have a golf tent in the middle of Tomorrowland? In the future, will we all be at the Masters? Is that what this is?
Nice.
There you go, baby.
They made $1 billion. Would it have killed them? Right, to paint these things some sort of color that blended in with Tomorrowland, or do some sort of exterior theming on them? Would that have been too difficult or too costly? It just doesn't seem like it, And I think that's the thing that bothers me. I'm fine with testing stuff, but there's a minimum threshold you got to hit on things like that. I heard that they're actually one of the places that they're looking to put these is either the top of the old Skyway structure, or on top of Cosmic Rays.
Cosmic Rays.
Really?
Yeah. Don't think about the fireworks viewing.
Oh, my goodness. That's true.
Yeah, there you go.
The other thing that I can't figure out from this, do you know how to get to those? We were trying to figure out how you get in. You enter over by the Plaza Restaurant. The backstage. Yeah. But think about it. You're going from there to Space Mountain. Dude, that's a hike.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe have a golf cart shuttle.
Convenient.
Well, the other ones are we were over at the studios, and where they're putting them in the studios is in front of the theater and behind the center stage, but they're black canvas tents.
Oh, that won't absorb heat.
No, I'm saying in July. It's like it's going to be is this a pig picking going on? What is this? Is this some
solar collector
festival here?
I think they call those microwaves. Real quick, before we let you go, Len, what's new for the what's new with the unofficial guide to Walt Disney World?
So we've got a couple of interesting things in there. One is we tell you how much Disney Vacation you get for $500, $1,000, $1,500, and $2,000. We break it down by whether you're one adult and one kid, two adults and one kid, and so on. Different. So it's a huge chart that spans many pages, and it gives you all these different options. Like you could stay 6 nights at a value resort and eat table service restaurants, or you could stay 3 nights at a moderate and eat counter service, and so on. So we essentially explain the trade-offs. We've got all new updated touring plans. Obviously, I did this. We also did this we'll have to talk about this in the next show. Did this super interesting thing where I tried to find $50 a night or lower hotel rooms in Orlando that you would want to stay at.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, nice.
Oh,
that was rough on you. Thank you for sacrificing for us.
We'll have to talk about it in another show. It was a disaster. But we talked about it in the book.
That's a whole episode.
Just that alone is worth a read, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, at one point we were in a hotel that was so unsafe. Every time we left the hotel, we packed up all of our belongings, put them in the car, and took the car with us. We would not keep anything of value in the hotel.
All right, we're going to keep you after the show. We want to know.
All right.
Oh my gosh. Well, Loopers, listen, you've got a little bit of time left. I mean, you can always get this stuff, but you got a little time left before Christmas. Get out there, get the unofficial guide to Walt Disney World, get the touring plans, get whatever Len's selling, because it's all quality. The man knows what he's doing. And Tim,
yes.
Other than saying thank you to Len, that is all I've got.
Bob, give us a little teaser.
What?
About the Looper meet. What are the numbers for this upcoming Looper meet?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I used touring plans to look up the dates that we're going to be in Walt Disney World for the next Looper meet.
And what did it say?
And They're looking at it's going to be a little bit high.
Oh,
I was kind of shocked. Well, not shocked. I kind of knew it might be a little bit high, but yeah, we're looking at a 7 out of 10 for the most part for most things. But we're still going to have a good time. We're not telling anybody, Len.
No, this is a teaser.
We're teasing.
Okay.
I'm sure you can decrypt it and figure out when it is, though. This is all from your data.
Yeah, exactly. Sometime throughout the HolidayThon, we will divulge our next looper mate. So
awesome.
There you go.
All right. Everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Scott. You can find me all over the place. I'm just excited that HolidayThon 2016 has begun. I don't know if we'll be doing this in 2060. But, Len, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Tim. Thanks, Bob.
You bet. I'm Bob on ResortLoop Bob on Twitter and Instagram. Don't forget Facebook, YouTube, all the other stuff that we do. And what else should folks do, Tim?
Please go out there and share the Gateway to the Magic.
See you, everybody.
Hey, Bob, it's that time of year again.
Absolutely. Everybody's getting ready for their next year's vacation planning. And what should folks do, Tim?
Contact Tyler over at People Mover Travel. January is going to be cruise time. It's what they call wave season. Everybody's putting in their vacation at work, so you're going to know what days you need to take. So contact him. Get in early.
Absolutely, and make sure that's peoplemovertravel.com. Let them know that you heard of them from us in the drop-down menu Resort Loop.
That's right. You'll get the days you want at the hotel you want, and he's going to keep an eye out for the rest of the year for discounts right up until the day you leave for your vacation. That's peoplemovertravel.com.